Hello and welcome to Community Connection. I'm Tracy Christensen. One of America's greatest accomplishments of the 19th century occurred right here in Utah with the linking of the rails, making train travel from coast to coast possible. David Kilton, who serves as a park ranger at the Golden Spike National Historic Site, is here to tell us about some of that history and things we can see and do as we visit this remarkable location. Thanks, David.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Let's talk about the Golden Spike and its significance in our history.
So this event happened at a very interesting time in the history of our country. The project actually started in 1862 while the country's in the middle of the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln was really trying to get troops across the country. It was one of the main reasons he pushed the project forward at the time that they did. It also helped that the Civil War broke out because they couldn't decide a route prior to this time because the southern states wanted a different route than the northern states. So building a route to make it much easier for settlers to move across the country and also defend the nation became very important. Also the resources, the gold, the silver, the lumber out in California, cutting down the time of getting that back to the East Coast was a huge factor in starting the project.
And this was cutting edge. I mean, having a railway that was, we don't think about it now because we think trains are kind of, not cutting edge, but it really was a huge deal. And what did it take? What effort did it take to finish that? So
there was 11,000 Chinese workers alone involved with the project, mostly from the west side because they couldn't keep workers, and just as many, if not more, working from the east, and just a huge amount of money in the cost of the iron, the steel, just the logistics. If you have kind of one way we talk about what they were doing is every mile they could only change 100 feet in elevation, so it had to be very flat, and they went through 3 mountain chains, and so it was a lot of people compare it to 1969 man going to the moon. Just happens 100 years later, and so it was basically space travel of the time or going to the moon, so really interesting. How many years did it take? 6.5 years, and the project was supposed to be 12 to 15, so half the time that was expected. So what actually happened with the Golden Spike? So Golden Spike, a lot of people come out to the site and looking for the Golden Spike. One of the reasons we are named that is because there was a Golden Spike that was brought out as a ceremonial piece of the final event. But the dignitaries from both sides were able to get together, and they actually tapped a Golden Spike. They didn't drive it because they would have smashed it, but there were 3 other spikes. So you could say, I guess, the 4 spikes ceremony, but it doesn't ring as well, I guess. That's right. But yeah, so they tapped these spikes, these dignitaries spoke, and the last spike was actually linked up to the telegraph. So it was one of the first live broadcasts of a major event throughout the country when they drove that spike in, sent a signal to Boston, New Orleans, all across the country. That's so great that it's just part of our Utah history. And what happens there at the historical site today? So the winter season, which is where we are right now, it's a little bit more subdued. You can go over and see the locomotives on engine house tours, and then you can explore some of the historic railroad bed and see some of the places where 150 years ago they would have been drilling through the rock and things. Definitely through the summer we've got a lot more going on. We have a larger staff with summer seasonals and things, so we give ranger programs on a daily basis. We run our locomotives. We have 2 historic locomotives, fully functional steam locomotives that you can see in operation. There's also reenactments that we do every Saturday and holiday of that ceremony that was held back in 1869. And where can we go to find more information about your program? So our website is www.nps.gov/GOSP, and you can actually find out about the other national parks through the same website. Just take off the GOSP at the end. Great. Thank you so much for being here and telling us about that important part of history. No, it's been great. Thank you. Thanks, David. Yeah. KBYU 11 is pleased to bring you information about family-friendly educational activities like those at the Golden Spike National Historic Site. For more on this and other events, please visit our website, KBYU11.org.
Thanks for being with us. We hope you'll join us next time on Community Connection.